start game number 2. Janice has dealt out the same 2 decks of cards with the next cards off the top of the deck. Starting game 2 with a question to Bob. Bob, we asked 100 men who have been married 50 years or more. Did you marry the girl next door? How many men married 50 years did marry the girl next door?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny you should ask that question. My very best friend married the girl next door. He hasn't been married 50 years, but it's kind of strange. I think back 50 years ago, that was probably the only girls that were around were the ones next door. I would say there wasn't any mass transit, you know, so I would say it's probably going to be a fairly middle-of-the-road number, about 38.
38 out of 100 married the girl next door. Jeanne, higher or lower?
The people were living so close that you had to marry the girl next door. No, you didn't meet any other girls. So I think it's going to be higher than that.
Higher than that? If it's higher, Jeanne, you'll play your cards. If not, it'll be Bob with his. Hit the answer on the head anytime. A $500 bonus. The actual number of men married 50 years who married the girl next door is 17. No, it's not higher. It's lower. They still got around a lot more than you thought back in those days. Bob starts off the game with a 3.
I go higher, Jim.
Playing it higher, a 5.
I'll go higher yet.
He's risking it higher, a 7.
I'll freeze.
We move over the freeze bar to protect that position, and Bob is halfway across the board. Jeanne, you got some catching up to do, love. And Jeanne, we asked 100 single women, in order to be a good lover, do you think it's also necessary to be a good actress? How many single women think in order to be a good lover, it's also necessary to be a good actress?
I think that's going to be a pretty medium number. Some people, I'm sure, do have to act because they're really not the type. But most women would. So I think acting is a big part to a point. So I'll say 54.
54 out of 100 say, yeah, being a good actress is important, huh?
I have to go ahead with Jeanne's reasoning there, but I don't think that many people act. So I'm going to say a little bit lower.
A little lower than that. About half the poll said it depends on the fella, right? That's 54 or lower. The actual number of single women who think in order to be a good lover, it's necessary to be a good actress is 15. It's low.
All right.
People are expressing their opinions and feelings for real.
Please.
Bob, he wins the question. You can change it.
I'm going to go higher.
Higher than a 7. No. 2 is not higher. Jeanne, a break for you because you get a free chance at a queen.
Lower.
Lower than a queen. No, a king. Lower. Janice will fill in the spaces. Question 3 goes to Bob. Bob, a company that hired Ronald Reagan to advertise their shirts back in 1953 is now rerunning the ad. You may have seen it. So we asked 100 people, do you think it's wrong for the company to rerun the ad now that Reagan is president? How many people said it's wrong for the company to rerun that shirt ad?
Well, the only thing I think would be wrong with it would be if they paid him residuals. I don't think he should get any money out of it. I think that's going to be a fairly high number. I'm going to say about, they say that it was wrong.
How many say it's wrong for them to rerun that old ad now that he's the president?
I misunderstood the question. I think it would be a very low number. I think it's only be about 20 people.
20 people out of 100. Jeanne, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a little higher than that.
You think it's higher? I don't know. I think it's okay. They're taking advantage of the fact that he's the president, but I think they should be allowed to do it. But sell the shirts at the same prices as 1953.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Right? I agree with that.
20 and higher. The actual number of people who said it is wrong for the company to rerun the shirt ad is 43. Jeanne is right. More people thought it was wrong. Jeanne, she says lower than the queen right away. This time it is.
I'm going to freeze.
Gonna freeze. Bob needs 2 cards with a 7. Jeanne with the 7 needs 3. And sudden death, someone's going to have a tough road to hoe. We'll find out who it's going to be right after this.
Let's face it, ladies. Not all of us are satisfied with our small bust size. But we're not...
One went to the champion in game 2 now. Bob with a 7 needs 2 cards. Jeanne also with 7 needs 3. Sudden death, someone has to win it on this play of the cards. Jeanne. We asked 116-year-old boys, who has taught you more about the facts of life, your parents or your friends? How many 16-year-old boys said they've learned more about sex from their friends?
I think that's going to be a very high number because nowadays there's so many problems with marriages and parents have split that they may not get it like they used to. So I think friends are really what is going to be a high number of about 71.
71. Interesting reasoning on that. Bob, what do you think? 71.
I tend to agree with her reasoning, but I don't think it's going to be quite. I mean, I think parents are taking the time with their children these days. I think that they take the time to explain to them what happens, where a baby comes from, and things of this nature. I think it's going to be a little bit lower.
Lower than that. This will decide control and sudden death. And the actual number of 16-year-old boys who said they've learned more about sex from their friends is 86. Not lower. Very much higher. Jeanne, you've got control and sudden death. You need 3 cards. Bob needs 2. You can play it or pass it.
I'm going to pass it to Bob.
All right, Bob, you're starting with a bad card, the 7, but if you get them both, you have the championship and another crack at the big money.
Go higher.
Higher than a 7, a queen.
We're going lower.
For the championship. Bob wins it. All right, Jeanne. Got to say goodbye. Much good fortune with your studies.
Thank you.
Good luck in your surgical nursing. Thank you for being here.
Oh, my God.
Jeanne Van Dusen. Bob Keck, come on down here with me. Now, Bob, if you've been with us the last couple of shows, you know that this fine champion has won $200 for one game, $200 for another. Now, this one, you're up to $600. Twice he has tried the money cards. Twice he has busted. It's the first time it's happened in a long time. Are you ready to do it for good?
I'm going to do it this time, and I just hope there's not an ace in that deck anywhere.
Yeah, they've been bad for you. Let's see good cards. Come on, we're all with you. Let's get over it. This is going to be it. 3rd time's the charm. I hope you're right. And the cards that you cut are waiting for you right here. $200 of new money. 3 cards on the bottom line. It's your decision how you bet them. And you bet them well. You've just had some bad luck. $200 more on the 2nd level and 3 more cards. Minimum bet's $50 till you get to the top card, the big bet, where you must risk at least half. And remember, you're on your own now, so we're going to carry over a double. You don't lose on it. Good luck, Bob. We are with you. Here's $200. And you can change your base card on each level if you need to. Thank you, Lois. Let's start him off with a good one. 200 and a 2.
I want to bet it all higher.
There he goes. He's off and running. $400 if this card is higher. Yes.
Well, I'll bet $50 higher.
Minimum bet $50. Higher than the 7. And right again with a queen.
Okay, I'm going to bet $250 lower.
$250. Lower than a queen. Oh, but you don't lose. It's the same. You do not lose. You still have $450. Still a good card. We're going to give you the other $200 when we move it up. $650 and a queen.
Okay, I want to bet $400 lower.
And he still is a gutsy better. $400 lower.
Yeah. All right.
Saw that face card and got scared.
I'll bet $100 lower.
$100 lower than a jack. Yes.
Oh, I'll bet $50 lower.
And again a lower bet. Lower than an 8 this time. No. Now an ace came up at a great time. $1,100 and an ace finally came up
I'm going to
good.
bet it all lower.
Come on, this man
Please,
deserves it.
let it
Cross
be
the
there.
fingers, $2,200 if it's lower.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. There is justice after all.
Finally.
The ace turned out to be good for you.
I can't believe it.
Finally, the ace was a good card for Bob Keck, who now has $2,800. We'll be back with a new challenger after this. Way to go.
Network.
Now, see, on our last show, we had an opening poem sent in by a lady. You got her name wrong. It's Sherry Sverdfager. Sherry Sverdfager sent it in. Sherry, we love you out there. We've been getting fan mail about you. You're going to be a star. We got 2 brand new decks of cards, and here comes a new challenger on Card Sharks. Hello, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Nice to meet you. Won't you tell us about you?
Sure, I'm Cindy Davis, and I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I'm now living in California for 6 years. I'm a dancercise instructor, and I'm presently in the process of opening up my own studio.
Oh, good. That's very good exercise, isn't it, dancing?
Excellent.
Nice to have you here. You all set to play?
I sure am.
You got your cards, I hope?
Yes, I did.
Good luck. Here we go. We will start best 2 out of 3 with a question to Bob. And Bob, we asked 100 marriage counselors. Generally speaking, when a married man has an affair with another woman, is it usually his wife who drove him to do it? How many marriage counselors said when a man has an affair, it is usually his wife who drove him to do it?
I think a lot of the affairs that happen don't have anything to do with the wife. I think it's more just time and place and happening. I don't think that's going to be a very high number. I think it's going to be somewhere around 34.
34 out of 100 marriage counselors said yes, it's usually the wife who drove him to it.
Well, Jim, I have to agree with Bob with his reasoning, but I still think it's going to be a little bit higher.
A little higher than that.
Yes.
I know some of the wives drove them to it and said, I'll pick you up in about 2 hours. Well, 34 and higher. The actual number, I don't know what that means. But the actual number of marriage counselors who said when a man has an affair, it is usually his wife who drove him to do it, is 10. That's all. Not higher. It's lower. Yeah, if you're going to do something, don't blame somebody else when you do something wrong. It's your own actions. Bob, you've got an ace.
Lower.
Lower than the ace. An 8.
Freeze.
Aces is starting to come up pretty good for Bob now. Cindy? Cindy, we asked 100 bachelors, have you ever kept something in your refrigerator so long that when you finally took it out, you couldn't tell whether it was animal, vegetable, or mineral? How many bachelors have kept something in their refrigerator so long they could no longer tell what it was?
Okay, Jim, I had a friend that lived above me, and in his refrigerator was an onion, and it had grown longer and longer, and he put it in the back of his toilet, and it continued to grow. So I
Wait. Time out. He put it where? In the back of his toilet?
Toilet.
Put it in the back of his toilet? Oh, okay.
Yes, and it continued to grow through.
Why did he do that, Cindy?
He said it grew better there, Jim. And that's only one example, so I think that's going to be a fairly high number. I say about 69.
69 out of 100 bachelors had something the refrigerator so long they couldn't tell what it is.
I can't top an onion in a toilet. I'm going to say lower.
Lower than that. The actual number of bachelors who've kept something in there. Boy, the tidy boy man must be in a lot of trouble trying to get around in there. 69 and lower. The actual number of bachelors who've kept something in the refrigerator so long they could no longer tell what it was is 50. It's lower. Bob's got it. But half of them.
I'm going to change that card, Jim.
Now he can change that middle card to an ace.
All right, I'll go lower.
Lower than an ace, a 7.
Freeze.
Man who was done in by aces is suddenly doing very well with aces. Bob, we asked 100 people. If a high school lets a student graduate, even though he has not learned to read, should that student be allowed? I wish I had. If a high school lets a student graduate, even though he has not learned to read, should the student be able to sue the school? How many people said if a high school graduates a student who cannot read, that student should be able to sue?
I would agree. I would say definitely you should be able to sue. That's what you go to school for, is to learn. Of course, a lot of it's the student's responsibility also. I would say it's going to be a middle row. I would say about 56.
56 out of 100 say the student should be able to sue.
Okay, Jim, I agree that it's part of the student's responsibility to get across the reading or whatever. And I don't think that they should have the right to sue. Half the kids that go to school now, I know they can't read or write or anything else. So I would say that it's going to be lower than that.
Even lower than that?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you've hit right on the crux of it, Bob. How much is the responsibility of the student? How much is the responsibility of the school? Let's find out how the people in our poll felt. The actual number of people who said if a high school graduates a student who cannot read, the student should be able to sue is 40. You're right, Cindy. It's lower. 40 out of 100 felt that way, and now we'll see what Cindy has to work with. A jack.
All right, lower.
Playing it lower. A 3.
Higher.
Higher than a 3. A king.
Lower.
Lower than the king. A 6.
Freeze.
He was so tempted to go all the way. Now she needs only 1 card. Bob needs 2. Sudden death coming at you right after this.
It's come to our attention.
Has to win the game right here. Cindy, the question to you. Cindy, we asked 100 women who wear falsies. Why are you giggling, Bob? That's a perfectly serious question.
I believe you.
100. Sherry doesn't wear.
Where did you find 100 women that admit to it?
What? All right, listen, half the staff, the guys want to go out and check it out themselves. Cindy, the question to you. Cindy, we asked 100 women who wear falsies. Do you have different size falsies for different occasions? How many women said they do have different... What are formal falsies? I was just suddenly thinking. Cindy, how many women said they do have different size falsies for different occasions?
Well, there are different kinds of outfits that you got to wear, Jim. So and there's different kind of men that like different kind of things. So maybe they adjust them, to the guys they're dating. So I would say that's going to be kind of a low number, maybe 32.
32 out of 100 have different sizes for Different occasions, different
I kind
guys.
of like what she says, you know. You got to wear those formals, you know, and they got zipper tops and button tops. I would say.
You ever
probably-
work in one of those male strip joints,
No,
Bob?
I never have. No,
Oh.
it's not my style.
Oh, I was just wondering. The action was good.
No.
She said 32. Do
Yes,
have
she did?
Yeah.
I would say probably even more than that. If you're going to wear them, might as well wear them with everything, you know.
Right. Well, even
I'd say higher.
you get the feeling you're in trouble, Bob, when the whole audience says, "Oh, you're wrong." Well, let's find out. 32 and higher. The actual number of women who said they do have different size falsies for different occasions is 30, not higher, just a little lower. Cindy was very close to having it right on. Now, Cindy, you've got control. You've got a 6. You could change it if you like. You need 1 card. Bob with a 7 needs 2. Play it or pass it.
I'm going to change it.
You're going to play it yourself. She wants to do it herself, so this is a big change. She has to turn that card over with this base card. A 4.
Higher.
Higher for the first game. Yes! Wow, 4 and a 5, and Cindy has game 1. I can't say as I blame it. He's been getting lucky with the cards, and Cindy did it herself and got the first game. We'll set up for game 2. Same 2 decks of cards. Next card's off the top of the deck, and now the champion has his back to the wall. He needs 2 in a row. Bob, we found 100 men who work for their father's company, and we asked them, when you do something wrong at work, is your father tougher on you than he is on his other employees? How many men said yes, their father is tougher on them than on the other employees?
You know, I never worked for my father because he never owned his own business, but I worked at the same place my father worked. And he was the type of guy that goes to work, never calls in sick, you know. It put a lot of pressure on me to be as good as he's been. And I would have to say that that's going to be a pretty high number. I'm going to say about 70.
70 out of 100 said, yeah, the father's tougher on them.
Okay, I have 2 cousins that work for their fathers, and I know for a fact that their fathers kind of shrug it off a little. So I would say it's going to be a lot lower.
Lower than that?
Yes.
You don't think they put that pressure on?
No.
Both of you have totally different attitudes on this one. The actual number of men who work for their father who said their father is tougher on them than on the other employees is 66, just a little lower. It was low enough for Cindy to get control, and Cindy starts this game with a 9.
Oh, change that card.
Change, can she improve it? Oh, another 9.
Okay, I'm going to go lower.
Lower than a 9. No! Third 9 in a row. And this time it's Bob with a break and a free chance also at a 9.
I'm going to go lower.
Would we try for 5 9s in a row? Is it lower?
All right.
Yes, with a 7. Bob comes out on top. A lot of 9s turned over there. Cindy, the question to you.
Okay.
Cindy, we found 100 men who are exactly 40 years old. And we asked them, do you think you've already lived the best years of your life? How many 40-year-old men think they have already lived the best years of their life?
Okay, my father's in that age range, and I think that he has lived quite a good life, but I'm sure he wants to go on. So I'd say that that's going to be a fairly middle-of-the-road number. I say 42.
42 out of 100.
I agree with her. I'm going to go a little bit lower.
Lower than that. I would sure hope people would think the future has something to hold, but let's find out. The actual number of 40-year-old men who think they have already lived the best years of their life is 18. Very much lower. Bob's got it. Yeah, you got to keep looking forward, and now Bob can change that 7 to a queen.
I'll go lower.
Lower than a queen. No, a king is not lower. Cindy, you got a 9 and a free chance.
Okay, I'm going to go higher.
Against the odds, higher? No. And Janice will fill in the spaces, and that's all the time we have for now because we got to take time out for a commercial break.
Nobody told me which file do I take.
This is Gene Wood speaking for Card Sharks, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.